The year is 1970. Imagine the bustling streets of Kabul. The air is thick with the scent of spices and the sound of merchants hawking their wares. Amidst this vibrant tapestry of life, our story begins. The laughter of children playing echoes in the narrow, winding alleys. The aroma of freshly baked bread wafts from local bakeries. Yet beneath this surface of normalcy, a current of uncertainty flows. Whispers of political unrest and change are carried on the wind. It is in this world caught between tradition and transformation that we meet our protagonist, a young boy named Amir. Join us now as we delve into the world of the kite runner. Amir is a child of privilege, living in a grand house with his father, Baba. Baba cuts an imposing figure. He is a man of wealth, a respected businessman, and a pillar of the community. Amir, on the other hand, is a quiet, introspective boy. He prefers the company of books to the rough-and-tumble games of other boys his age. Amir craves Baba's approval, longs to bridge the distance between them. Despite their differences, there's a deep love between them, albeit unspoken, and often buried beneath layers of expectation and disappointment. Amir idolizes Baba, wanting nothing more than to earn his respect. This yearning for his father's love will shape Amir's actions and decisions. It is a path fraught with challenges, heartache, and ultimately the possibility of redemption. Amir lives in the shadow of Baba's greatness, always feeling a few steps behind. He watches his father trying to decipher the code of manhood that Baba seems to embody so effortlessly. Amir sees how easily Baba commands respect, how his presence fills a room. He yearns for that same presence, that same effortless confidence, but it eludes him. He tries to be the son he thinks Baba wants, engaging in sports, pretending to enjoy the roughhousing of other boys. But his heart isn't in it. He prefers the world of stories, losing himself in tales of heroes and adventures. Yet he keeps these passions hidden, fearing his father's judgment. Amir's every action feels like a performance, a desperate attempt to earn a standing ovation that never comes. This constant yearning for Baba's love creates a void in Amir's life, a void that he desperately tries to fill. In stark contrast to Amir's internal struggles is Hassan, the son of Baba's servant Ali. Hassan is everything Amir is not: brave, selfless, and fiercely loyal. With his piercing blue eyes and a smile that could light up a room, Hassan possesses an innate goodness that draws people to him. He is small for his age, but possesses a surprising strength, a quiet resilience that belies his tender years. Hassan is more than just a servant son to Amir. He is his closest confidant, his protector, his shadow. They are inseparable, two halves of a whole. Where Amir is timid, Hassan is fearless. Where Amir hesitates, Hassan acts. He is Amir's constant companion, always there to defend him, to support him, to believe in him. Amir loves Hassan, but his love is tainted by a sense of guilt, a nagging awareness of the societal divide that separates them. In the shared world of childhood, the stark lines of social hierarchy blur. For Amir and Hassan, that shared world revolves around kites. Every winter, the skies above Kabul transform into a battlefield of vibrant colours and soaring dreams. The annual kite-fighting tournament is a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of freedom and hope. For Amir, kite flying is a chance to prove himself to Baba. He spends hours practicing, honing his skills. But deep down, Amir knows he can't win without Hassan. Hassan, with his innate understanding of the wind, is a legend in kite running. Together, Amir and Hassan are an unstoppable force. As the days grow shorter and the first whispers of winter dance through the streets of Kabul, a palpable excitement fills the air. The annual kite-fighting tournament is fast approaching. Boys prepare for the grand event. Kites of all shapes and sizes adorn the shops. For Amir, the tournament is a chance to prove his worth. He spends hours practicing on the rooftop. Hassan shares in Amir's excitement. As the day of the tournament dawns, a nervous energy fills the air. The sky above Kabul transforms into a swirling kaleidoscope of colour as hundreds of kites take flight. The air crackles with energy, the sharp snapping of strings cutting through the cheers. Amir, gripping the spool, feels a surge of adrenaline. Hassan guides Amir with intuition and experience. One by one, Amir's opponents fall. Finally, only one kite remains, a lone blue kite. It is the kite of Asef, a cruel boy. The battle is fierce, a dance of skill and determination. Amir's kite slices through Asef's string, sending it spiraling down. The crowd erupts in cheers, but Amir's victory feels incomplete. The price of loyalty, a choice made in silence. "For you, 1,000 times over," Hassan had said, and so Hassan runs, disappearing down the narrow alleyways of Kabul. Amir watches, unease forming in his stomach. He knows the dangers lurking in Kabul's shadows. Amir makes a choice, one that will haunt him for years. The stain of betrayal, silence and its echoes. The image of Hassan's humiliation, of his pain, is seared into Amir's memory, a permanent stain on his soul. The echo of his own ragged breathing, the pounding of his heart in the silence of the alleyway, become the soundtrack to his guilt. He had stood there, frozen, a spectator to his friend's suffering. Amir tries to convince himself it wasn't his fault, that he was just a boy, powerless against Asef and his gang. He tries to bury the memory, to lock it away in some deep, dark recess of his mind. Hassan, ever loyal, pretends nothing happened. He bears his pain in silence, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by a quiet stoicism. The blue kite, once a symbol of triumph, now represents the betrayal that hangs between them. Amir's silence becomes a wall, an invisible barrier that separates him from Hassan. The unraveling of friendship fractured. The easy camaraderie that once defined their friendship is gone, replaced by an awkward tension. Amir's guilt manifests as anger, as a desperate need to push Hassan away, to create distance between them. He picks fights with Hassan, finds fault with his every word, every action. But Hassan, ever forgiving, absorbs Amir's anger with a quiet sadness. The joy has drained from their days, the laughter replaced by a hollow silence. Amir, lost in his own guilt and shame, fails to see the pain he is inflicting on his friend. Baba's birthday arrives, but this year the air is thick with unspoken tension. Amir, desperate to rid himself of guilt, hatches a plan. He plants Baba's wristwatch among Hassan's belongings, hoping to stage a theft. He convinces himself their departure will absolve him. When Baba confronts Hassan, Amir watches from the shadows. Hassan confesses to a crime he did not commit. Hassan accepts the blame with quiet dignity. Baba forgives Hassan, but the damage is done. The next morning, Ali informs Baba they are leaving. As they walk away, Amir watches, his throat choked with grief. The victory rings hollow, filled with the echo of his betrayal. The grand house felt different, eerily silent. The echoes of Hassan's laughter were gone, replaced by a haunting emptiness. Amir wandered through the rooms like a ghost. The pomegranate tree stood bare, mirroring the emptiness within him. Baba too seemed changed, his energy subdued. Amir knew his father missed Hassan and Ali. He longed to confess to his father, but was choked by shame. Amir threw himself into his studies, a shield against guilt. He excelled in school, but each accolade felt hollow. The memory of Hassan's support haunted him. The seasons changed, but the ache in Amir's heart remained. The world outside the walls. While Amir grappled with his internal demons, the world outside was changing. The political landscape of Afghanistan had begun to shift dramatically. Whispers of revolution and a growing Soviet presence permeated the streets. The changes were impossible to ignore. The familiar rhythms of life were disrupted. The sounds of children playing were replaced by the rumble of tanks. Fear became a constant companion. Baba grew increasingly somber. He spoke of the changing political climate with anger and resignation. His beloved Afghanistan was being torn apart. The carefree days of kite-fighting seemed like a distant dream. Now, a different kind of battle loomed. The day they fled Kabul was a blur of chaos and confusion. Amir, still a teenager, clung to his father, fear a cold knot in his stomach. He left behind the only home he had ever known, the pomegranate tree, a distant memory. Their journey was long and arduous, fraught with danger. They traveled by cover of night, hidden in the back of trucks. Finally, they reached the shores of America. a land that seemed both familiar and strange. The air was different here, the smells, the sounds, the pace of life itself. Amir felt adrift, unmoored, his past a heavy weight he carried on his shoulders. Amir threw himself into his studies, excelling in school, learning English. The memory of Hassan, of his betrayal, followed him like a spectre. Years slipped through Amir's fingers like grains of sand. He adapted to life in America, the strange becoming familiar. He excelled in his studies, propelling him through college. Amir found solace in words, his passion for stories blooming into a successful writing career. Love found him unexpectedly at a flea market, blossoming into deep affection for Soraya. Amir and Soraya married in a traditional Afghan ceremony filled with music and laughter. Surrounded by love and shared heritage, there was hope and redemption in their lives. One ordinary afternoon, a phone call shattered the fragile peace Amir had built around himself. The voice on the other end, raspy with age and tinged with an unfamiliar urgency, sent a shiver down his spine. Rahim Khan, Baba's closest friend, reached out from the distant past, his words echoing with unspoken truths. Rahim Khan was frail, his health failing, his voice a mere whisper across continents. He spoke of Kabul, of their shared past, of Baba's final days, his words painting a picture of a city ravaged by war. Amir listened, his heart pounding, a sense of foreboding settling over him. Rahim Khan's voice softened as he spoke of Hassan, of his unwavering loyalty, his quiet strength, his untimely death at the hands of the very forces that had torn Afghanistan apart. Amir closed his eyes, the image of Hassan's smiling face, his loyal shadow flashing before him. Guilt, long suppressed, rose within him, a bitter taste in his mouth. "There is a way to be good again," Rahim Khan said, his voice barely audible above the static of the long-distance call. He spoke of Sohrab, Hassan's son, an orphan caught in the crosshairs of a war he didn't understand. He spoke of a dangerous journey, of a chance to atone for past mistakes, of a way to honor Baba's memory. Amir hesitated, torn between the comfortable life he had built for himself and the unsettling call of his past. The ghosts of Kabul beckoned, whispering promises of redemption, of a chance to finally face the consequences of his silence. He knew in his heart that he could not ignore this summons, this opportunity to right the wrongs of his youth. The journey back to Kabul was a pilgrimage of sorts, a return to the land of his birth, a confrontation with the ghosts that haunted his dreams. The city that greeted him was a pale shadow of its former self, its streets scarred by conflict, its vibrant spirit muted by years of violence. The familiar scent of spices now mingled with the acrid smell of gunpowder, the laughter of children replaced by the rumble of tanks. Amir moved through the ruined streets like a stranger, his American clothes marking him as an outsider. He had lived in exile for years, but the sights, the sounds, the very air of Kabul awakened memories he had tried to bury, memories of a childhood both idyllic and painful. Rahim Khan, his strength failing, had left him a letter, a roadmap to redemption, a path that led him to the heart of his past sins. He learned the truth about Baba, about his hidden shame, his act of redemption that mirrored Amir's own desperate need for atonement. He learned of Hassan's fate, of his courage in the face of unimaginable cruelty, his loyalty unwavering even in death. The search for Sohrab took him deeper into the heart of darkness, into the world of warlords and child soldiers, of shattered lives and broken dreams. He confronted his own cowardice, the fear that had paralyzed him all those years ago, the silence that had cost Hassan his innocence. In a dusty orphanage, reeking of urine and despair, Amir found Sohrab a shell of a boy, his eyes haunted by unspeakable horrors, his spirit crushed by loss and betrayal. The sight of this lost child, the living embodiment of his past sins, ignited a spark of determination in Amir's heart. He would save Sohrab, not just for Hassan, not just for Baba, but for himself, for the chance to finally silence the ghosts that whispered his name. The orphanage, shrouded in twilight, reeked of despair. The air hung heavy with the scent of stale urine and unfulfilled dreams. Children, their eyes hollowed by hunger, peered at Amir from behind bars. He'd come seeking redemption, but the path ahead seemed fraught with danger. Rahim Khan's letter warned him about the man who controlled the orphanage. They called him Asif, a name that sent a shiver down Amir's spine. The meeting was a tense dance of veiled threats and unspoken truths. Asif greeted Amir with a mocking smile, his eyes glinting with familiarity. Amir fought to maintain his composure. He would face this monster and rescue Sohrab, no matter the cost. The confrontation was swift and brutal, a blur of fists and fury. In that moment he was no longer the timid boy, but a man fighting for something greater than himself. They escaped Kabul under the cover of darkness, Sohrab a silent shadow by his side. The journey was a harrowing ordeal, a desperate flight through checkpoints and treacherous mountain passes, the spectre of pursuit nipping at their heels. Amir, his body battered and bruised, clung to the fragile hope of reaching the Pakistani border, of finding sanctuary in a land that held no memories, no ghosts. Sohrab, his eyes hollowed by trauma, remained eerily silent throughout the journey. He moved like a sleepwalker, his responses to Amir's questions monosyllabic, his gaze distant, lost in a world of unspoken pain. Amir, his heart aching for the boy's unspoken suffering, tried to bridge the chasm of silence, to offer words of comfort, but they seemed to bounce off an invisible wall, their meaning lost in translation. He had rescued Sohrab from the clutches of a monster, but the scars of trauma ran deep, invisible wounds that no amount of physical distance could heal. The orphanage, with its suffocating despair and unspoken horrors, had stolen something precious from the boy, leaving behind a hollow shell, a haunting reminder of the devastating impact of war on the most innocent of victims. Amir, haunted by his own experiences, recognized the signs of trauma, the withdrawal, the silence, the haunted look in Sohrab's eyes. He had spent years trying to bury his own pain, to outrun the ghosts of his past, but he knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that Sohrab's journey to healing would be long and arduous, a path fraught with emotional landmines and the constant threat of relapse. As they crossed the border into Pakistan, leaving behind the land of their birth, Amir made a silent vow. He would be Sohrab's protector, his guide, his anchor in the storm. He would help him navigate the treacherous waters of trauma, to find his voice, to reclaim the laughter that had been stolen from him. It was a daunting task, a responsibility that weighed heavily on his shoulders, but Amir knew with unwavering certainty that this was his chance, his opportunity to finally atone for the sins of his past, to earn the redemption he so desperately craved. The days in Peshawar stretched into weeks, a blur of bureaucratic hurdles and anxious waits. Amir, armed with Rahim Khan's letters, navigated the labyrinthine world of immigration officials. Sohrab remained withdrawn, his silence a constant presence in their small apartment. He moved through the days like a ghost, his eyes betraying a deep-seated sadness. He clung to a worn-out copy of the Shahnameh, the epic Persian poem that Hassan used to read to him, and a faded photograph of his parents, a bittersweet reminder of a happiness lost. Amir tried everything to reach Sohrab, to coax him out of his shell. He bought him books, toys, art supplies, anything that might spark a flicker of interest. He told him stories of Baba, of Kabul in its happier days, of Hassan, his voice catching in his throat as he spoke of his childhood friend. Sometimes, late at night, Amir would catch Sohrab staring at him, a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. In those fleeting moments, a fragile bridge of understanding seemed to form between them. Then, a devastating setback threatened to shatter the fragile peace they had built. Sohrab, overwhelmed by the prospect of leaving, retreated further into himself. Amir, his own heart heavy with despair, refused to give up. He had promised Rahim Khan, he had promised Hassan, he had promised himself. He would honor that promise, even if it meant confronting the darkest truths of his past. America welcomed them with a cold, indifferent embrace. The bustling streets of San Francisco, a stark contrast to the war-torn alleys of Kabul. Sohrab, overwhelmed, clung to Amir's side. Amir rented a small house with a backyard overlooking the ocean. The rhythmic crashing of waves filled the air with tranquility. He enrolled Sohrab in school, hoping for a sense of normalcy. The journey to healing was slow, marked by setbacks and small victories. Sohrab remained withdrawn, his silence a heavy cloak. He refused to speak of his past, his nightmares manifesting in restless sleep. Amir, haunted by his own experiences, understood Sohrab's pain. He showered Sohrab with patience and unconditional love. He read to him from the Shahnameh, a reminder of their shared heritage. He taught him to play chess, a metaphor for navigating life. Slowly, cracks appeared in Sohrab's wall of silence, each small interaction a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Spring arrived, painting the hills of San Francisco in vibrant hues of green and gold. The air, no longer biting with winter's chill, carried the scent of renewal, of second chances. Amir, watching Sohrab from a distance, noticed a subtle shift in the boy's demeanor. He seemed less withdrawn, his movements less guarded, his gaze lingering a little longer on the faces of those around him. The boy was flying a kite, a vibrant red kite, dancing in the gentle breeze. It was as if a spark had ignited within him, a flicker of joy rekindled after years of darkness. Amir's heart swelled with a mixture of emotions, relief, gratitude, and a profound sense of closure. "For you, 1,000 times over," Amir whispered, the words echoing Hassan's vow from a lifetime ago. As he launched himself into a run, the red kite soaring higher with each step, Amir felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The kite danced in the wind, a symbol of hope against the vast canvas of the sky.